Hi everyone, my name is Patrick Akil, and in this episode we cover team building, user impact, career progressions and titles, and much, much more. Joining me today is Alexandra Vargas. She's staff software engineer over at Grafana Labs, and honestly, this was one of my favorite conversations. She's kind, she's empathetic, she's been through a lot, and I love the way she tells stories. So enjoy. I got some really solid advice that I always carry with me, and it was very, I think, early on in my career. One of the first teams that I worked in, and probably one of the fondest memories because it was so early. But I got feedback, and they said, Patrick, like sometimes you work in isolation. It's like you're on an island, and I know you're working on a problem and you're trying to figure it out, but I know you're stuck and you're not asking for help. Like you need to ask for help when you get stuck. If people can help you within a few minutes, ask for help. Like ask for perspective, ask for feedback faster rather than later. And I was like, man, that is right. And I tried to argue this, right? Because I feel like I should know these things. Yeah. I'm trying to figure it out. I feel like I will learn or I will remember better if I figure it out myself. It's something that, I mean, throughout high school and school was always like, okay, figure it out yourself or do the research and then ask, because then you did your homework. That's what I felt like I also did. But they were like, it's not effective. Like we have to be effective as a team. We are part of the team. The team is responsible for the execution. If I can give you the guidance in a few minutes, then let's do that route. And I was like, yeah, in the end, it does make sense. So I started asking more. And at some point I got more comfortable in asking. And nowadays, I honestly don't really care. Like even at my new position as a product manager, most of the time I lack the context. And I ask. And I ask over and over and over again until I understand. And it might be me, it might be the other person. Usually it's somewhere in the middle. But as long as I don't understand, I cannot execute. And I need to understand to be able to do whatever I need to do, right? Yeah. It's very important.
Did you ever had this like a pressure on the title that you hold and that specific approach? Like
it's all the time, because Xebia is a consultancy company. So I come in as a consultant, and then especially at the beginning, I'm like, I'm probably supposed to know everything, right? Why do you come in otherwise? So yeah, that was always daunting. But I learned that not everyone thinks that of you, and probably you think that of yourself the most. Yeah. And then I give that a place, and I'm like, now I really don't mind, right? If I am there to help, then I need to understand, and I can only understand by asking, so I will.
Yeah, I think that's the part that as well for me is the hunting part, and that in my case, what I give up by accepting this was the whole titles. Like the title part, like is a controversial side. Every time that when I talk to someone, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you know, like what are you?" And then you have to say your title. Yeah. And I really dislike that, because somehow this put a barrier between people. In my opinion, like if you are from, I don't know, director, wherever, it feels like I cannot talk to you because of whatever reason. I don't know.
Directors are special.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're special. Maybe I'm going to say something that is not great, and you are going to judge me saying, oh my God, this girl has no idea. Yeah. That kind of thing. And then if you have a title that is like above, like you join the career, and it's okay if you ask questions because you are an intern or you are just learning. That's like, in my head, is of course okay.
Everyone knows.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then if you go into 3 or 4 years, then you are like core, or depends of the company senior, but I will say core. So core people is like, okay, I need some assistance. And if they ask questions, okay. Yeah. But then as soon as you start to go into above, like senior, staff, principal, all of these titles, there is this like thing that I, kind of like a ceiling that, oh yeah, because you are there and you have like 8 or 9 or 10 or 20 years of experience, somehow my brain thought, because you have those titles, you are an expert, therefore you should know everything. About it. And that's like, the title has so much weight in what maybe my interest or my learning career than the title itself. Like sometimes the title is just like based on salary. If they want to pay you more because you are doing more impact, well, you need a higher title, else you will not get salary, so money. But sometimes it's also about being in the room. Like, oh, we only invite leaderships, whatever. So if you are not in that title, so I understand that fact. But from my personal perspective, I feel like those titles, yes, they are important, but they are not the most important. Like people should not, or like not people, like people can do whatever, but me, I should not go towards I want to reach the next level, because this is not, it's not like, doesn't make any sense. Like why I want to do that level. If it's because more money, okay. But if it's not money, then why?
Then why, yeah.
So is it like an ego thing? Is it because I want to be called, I don't know, a doctor or whatever? So in that, I have to give up that. Like, if I want to understand, I will do the asking questions. I might look like I have no idea what I am like doing, but trust me, I know I am asking questions because I want to learn.
Yeah.
But then the title part, I'm like, okay, I will not go there. Like, no. But with managers, it's a bit tricky because they ask you. So,
yeah, absolutely.
What do you want? Do you want to move to the next level? I'm like, no. With my last manager, this was the conversation at the beginning. Are you looking for a promotion? I'm like, okay. I am looking for learning opportunities. If you consider that in 1 year, 2 years, I am ready for a promotion, feel free to just sign me in. Yeah. That was my answer. And I was like doing all of the things that I wanted because it was interesting. And in one point, she is like, okay, I think you are ready for a promotion. And,
I love that.
And I put you there and I was like, heart beating, like, you put me what? In my head, he was like, you should ask me first. But she's like, yeah, but you said when
you deserve it.
Like,
yeah.
It's just putting the title of the job that you are already doing. So I'm not like saying that you should do something else. It's just you are doing something. It deserves recognition.
Yeah.
So, but that was like interesting. It's like, okay, when at the beginning I said that, I continue with my life, and then she's, okay, you are ready. Like, put promotion, and yeah, you got the title. I'm okay. Thank
Good
you.
stuff. The first time someone called me a senior, like it was the first time, and it made me uncomfortable, right? Ooh. Because of the weight of that title. I'm like, I don't know if I am senior. Like,
what
am I supposed to? Yeah, exactly. What is a senior? And am I ready? I don't feel ready. Or why am I all of a sudden now a senior? And it's still the same. Like, do I consider myself a senior? I don't think so. There's not a definition of the years of experience that you need to have. I consider myself a person that just really does their best. And that's it. I bring a certain baggage with me from experience. It's maybe sometimes a more wide experience rather than depth. And that's a different type of experience than another person with that same senior title. So it even varies in what you bring then. But the title brings a certain weight with it. Yeah. I've also seen organizations where everyone has the same title. And I really admire that. And I'm like, how do the conversations happen with regards to salary or impact? And I had this person, he was from Dino, and he knows a company where that's the case. And also everyone earns the same. And I'm like, man, that's like a double, right? You have the same salary and everyone earns the same. And still organizations operate like that. I think it's fascinating. And I would love to see more research with companies that don't have this, let's say, title hierarchy, to see how they operate versus something similar. But it'd be very hard to do like a proper A/B test on that.
Yeah, especially because there are some things that they are not official, but it's part of the culture. Like, for instance, you can see in a team someone who is very influential, and maybe this person doesn't hold the title.
Yeah.
And you know it's very influential because this person says something and the team just follows. Like, they are no, maybe same level, right? But this person is just influential.
Yeah.
And they even don't realize. This happens in one of my teams in the past. Like, I saw someone who was very influential. Like, he says yes, and the team just goes. Because they trust, because he's very skillful. But when he says no, the team just like, okay, then no.
What if he's not there?
Well, in this case, they manage themselves, right? Okay. But like when he was there, he was having that power. But he didn't notice that sometimes you can say no as an idea that you really don't care. Yeah. And in one point, he was saying like, oh, but this is not a good idea. So he was invalidated an idea without giving like the proper space to evaluate if the idea was good or not. It's just like, well, no. He's just from a developer point of view. He is just giving his opinion. Yeah. And a feedback that I gave to him is like, I think you don't notice, but you have a high influence. Therefore, you have to be really careful what you say yes, no, and what you say maybe. Because a maybe gives the opportunity to evaluate the idea and give the other team members to even consider the idea. a no immediately invalidate the idea, and the person who maybe is raising the idea feels like, oh, my ideas are not valid, or there is not this space of collaboration because you feel like if your ideas are always shutting down, that's not good.
No.
So, but yeah, this person didn't have the title, like there was no like this hierarchy in official way, but in the day-to-day you could see it. And I'm like, he didn't
even notice?
No, he's like, I'm just like a normal developer. I'm like, no, I can see it. I can see it from far, like that dynamics of teams. And so,
how do people become like that? Because I also have seen that from an influence standpoint, but usually that does come with then the title as well. I haven't seen often that people in the same team navigate towards one person that has that influence more so than others.
I think there are like different factors in my opinion. One is they are really well communicating. Like if you see them, they communicate really well. So if you are facing a bug, an issue, sometimes it's very hard for a developer to say, this is going to impact the user in X, Y, Z, whatever. But this person can take that back and say, like, look, this is very, very critical. We need to fix it because X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So the developer that are being helped, he's like, oh, you are helping me. You know something. You know, like this stakeholder communication that is quite hard sometimes for us. So one thing is that. The other is always ready to help. Is that kind of people who are like, you are blocked, and they are like, please, no worries. Like, come here. We are going to do this together. Programming, like they are very always trying to sponsor people, always trying to enable people. So of course, if someone is trying to help you, you are going to look for that person. Like, it's like, thank you. And frequently because of that, they are leading projects that are impactful. So success, right? If they always lead a project, these people are successful on those projects because they know how to communicate with people, how to work as a team. So I think this is a mix of many things that, of course, if you have the title, you will need to do because that's part of your work. But if you don't, you start to do that organically. And then people just, it's like normal. They just start to look like at you, like, oh, you are kind of like a leader without the title, but we don't care because you are like us.
Exactly.
And even it's dangerous. You are like us, but no, it's like it has a high influence. So whatever this person says, you are going to be influenced. And it's hard that we notice that. Like when I respect someone. Sometimes I don't think it's influencing me. But then if I really look back, it's like, no, actually you do.
Yeah. But also that comes with trust, right? It's a certain track record.
Yes.
As soon as you come together with a group of individuals, you don't become a team instantly. It takes a lot of successes, a lot of failures, a lot of sometimes heated discussions and decision making.
Yeah.
And it's fine if you disagree and commit as long as you test your outcomes, you are flexible in your solution direction, and you can always pivot. Then I think you can choose wisely or not, and you can disagree and still commit. But that's how you become a team.
That part is very interesting. In your experience, like, imagine that you have a team and you have a group of people who are focused in tech. Like they are into new technology, like edge technology. And you have people who are more focused in users and they are more focused in user experience and they really care about the users. Let's say that there is this discussion about like a project that need to be out today. But because of user experience, the people on one side says like it should not go because it's going to degrade the user experience. But the people from the other side, it will say, well, yes, it is. In a team, my experience is user, customer, developers, very few. Tech, like edge, why you are doing this? Because I can.
The fun stuff.
Of course, it's like that's the most. How now that you are in this role, how would you manage something like that? Like because in your case, you care about your users.
Absolutely.
But also the team cares about what you say and you care about your team as well. So how would you balance something like that?
Yeah, we try the technology stuff and improving, let's say, the tech stack and doing more newer things or improving things, I funnel that under tech improvements. And I try and do both at the same time. Obviously, if deadlines allow it and we're at a phase where they do, we do feature development and we do tech improvements and we try and balance that. And there's definitely been times where I've been called out and the team would say, okay, we only have features. Exactly. So user value or user testing or bug fixes. And we have this list of tech improvements, which we also want to do. And I'm trying to balance that, like, to the best I can. I'm doing more tech improvements now because I feel like we've been lacking on that aspect. I've been called out a bunch more. We have been delivering proper, everyone's happy. So we can do more tech improvements. And the best is if those tech improvements also directly will relate to user value later on, which some of the times they do. But it's a very delicate balancing act. And I've noticed that if we don't do tech improvements, it hits in the motivation of the team because they come up with something, they're really excited about something. I do my best to make sure it's small, right? We cannot do only tech improvements because then we don't deliver any value. And from the other side, I try and advocate on doing the most important things. Sometimes I've also gotten feedback where people say, okay, this feature is not complete. And I'm like, but if we haven't proven value yet, then we can make it complete. But if it's not being used, then that's wasted time and effort. So we do things to test as soon as possible in production in a very minimalistic way. I might be a bit more practical than some other product managers they've worked with or product owners. But I like to be very explicit with the way we communicate. Why do we do this? To test these assumptions. If it's not being used, we shouldn't build it. I hate waste. I've always hated waste from the developer seat. And also one of the fondest things and kind of projects that I've worked on was when I was in the driver's seat. I was the sole developer because a person went on holiday, became a dad, was off for 3 months. And I was put there to kind of manage things in his absence. And then when he came back, it was going to be the two of us. So there he set up an architecture where we could A/B test a lot of assumptions. And this was specifically for e-commerce. So every type of value we would add would have to have a direct contribution to conversion.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a whole new feature in and of its own. So specifically, let's say for the checkout, we had a user feedback way where some of the form fields that were missing needed to be filled in. And we conveyed that in a certain way to the user. And there was an assumption. We can do it with red boxes or green boxes as soon as you filled it in. And I am partially colorblind. So I was like, I barely see the difference here. That was the B variant. The A variant was what we had. And I added a new variant because I could. I was like, I'm going to add some icons, check mark or an X. And that's it. We did an ABC test. And we did that continuously. Regardless of what outcome there was, I would be able to ship features very quickly, sometimes without tests, if I felt like we didn't need it to test the assumptions in an A/B test. And then once it was a valid case, I would productionalize it better. I would up the quality. I would add those tests. And that would then be shipped. I feel like in a lot of conversations, specifically with regards to user behavior, especially now from the product side, everyone has an opinion.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they are all assumptions. And it's very hard to then decide, right? If people gravitate towards someone that has influence or a specific opinion or a better argument, you usually test that one. But then again, I don't want to shut down any other ideas. But they're all assumptions.
But I think this is really cool because in your case, you have A/B testing, right? And this is like in the past, I used to work with a company who was doing A/B test, and it was a completely game changer. That from the point of view as a developer, like first, you don't get attached to your code because it can be just thrown away after the A/B test is executed, and it's like, oh, actually doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you have to literally throw away the code, and that was the first oh my God, all of my hard work, and then you start to be less perfectionist about the code that you write because you don't know if this is going to add value or not. Therefore, don't even try to make your test your code perfect.
It doesn't matter.
So that was one of the benefits. But then I saw one of the downsides if you are not careful. And it was the fact that sometimes, you have this, depends of the culture of the company, but you have a company that is shipping all the time features.
Yeah.
And if you do through A/B tests, they will just intentionally just say, test, come on, it's proving value, continue with the next A/B test.
Yeah.
And then the technical side, the stability side of the tech part is just forgotten. So the code that you wrote because you maybe thought it will be thrown away, it's adding. And when you have more code and more code and more code, and it's not part of the culture to revisit those features, to refactor, to do all of these things, it just becomes a mess.
I agree.
And even sometimes you forget to remove the if you have A, B, C, you forget to, and B1, you forget to remove the A and the C, and then you have code. It's but why we have this here? And it's a lot of tests that you are not cleaning up after. So it's a cultural thing, in
Absolutely.
my opinion. So it's like, it's good, however, careful. Don't be like, it's not that shiny.
It's not perfect.
Yeah, it's not perfect.
It needs a good routine, I feel like, right?
Yeah.
And good conventions. And if you then uphold it, it can be very powerful.
Yes.
Right now, I'm working on a tool that's internal, also less users, and we don't have A/B testing. And then I'm like, okay, am I going to add A/B testing and do it more based on data? But we don't have that many users. Like, is it going to be a valid choice to do that? And I'm kind of torn. Should I invest and then test more with data? Or do I postpone until we have more users and then ship that way?
Yeah, because also like the amount of people, the audience can be so small that it's just
It's not going to matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So one thing that in the companies that when we don't use A/B test like very often, what we do is we invest more in user research, especially when you are like developing something for a specific set of users, like specialized users, people who are like, like physicists or something like that.
Yeah.
So for them, it's better to do user research. And then I had the opportunity to work with a user researcher, and it's just completely different. Like when you go to interviews, I was just a shallower, just seeing what the user does.
Yeah.
And it's just so like good because you can see how the user get blocked in flows that we thought they are super clear.
Should be good.
Nah, they were not. And then they're like clicking, and, oh, but I don't see it. And we are like, look, the button is in front of you. So it was very good working in that small set of, but it's costly because you need a user research, you need users. So we have to pay sometimes some of these users, like, I don't know, like Amazon bonus or whatever. So something that it was, because it's time, and time is very expensive.
Absolutely.
So it was really good, and the results were definitely like more aligned when you were implementing. And something else is it builds empathy from the developer point of view. Like when I saw that user struggling, every time that I'm implementing something, I'm like, yeah, no, poor X name, it's going to suffer more. So let's just do something to improve that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, you improve empathy. Like you get empathy towards your users in that way, but it's costly. So
how do you still keep that in mind with those technical discussions that you have? Because I feel like you're more on the user side, advocating and fighting for, let's say, user needs and based on the behavior that you know. But there's always other sides of the coin, other opinions, and in the end there can be one outcome, or you can try multiple outcomes and then test. But how do you have those conversations within a team?
I think like in the team I kind of like have a good grasp of who is caring about the user and who is caring about the tech side. And knowing that is very important, because I know that I cannot, like, I advocate for my users, but I will not try to convince someone who is just caring about tech, about the users. They will not care. However, what I will do is like they care about something else. Like, for instance, like I care about users because I care if I develop something, I know it will impact these users and hopefully good. Sometimes it's not good, and I have seen that. I'm like, maybe, especially in accessibility, when you are not doing the things and you see someone struggling, it's like, my God, you saw the semantic HTML and that's it. Like, so in that, I feel like shitty, because it's like I joined this career because I wanted to help people through technology. So my background was not, I was a developer when I was 6 years old because computers are cool. Like, I was not coming from that. I came from studying computer science, but sticking in programming because helping users.
Awesome.
And that's me. However, I have seen the other side, like people who are since 10 years old doing like math problems and going to
making
computers
and
they love and they have joy in that. And they frequently have a lot of power to influence because, of course, they have success rate, right? So when we are having these conversations, one thing that I really try to make sure is like, it's not about me having so much empathy with users. It's also me thinking that if users have a good user experience and the product is good, money is coming. Therefore, you are going to have a job well paid, hopefully. More interesting projects are coming to your site.
Win-win.
Win-win, exactly. So if we make something that is good and you love technology, trust me, you are going to have much opportunity into exploring, into learning, because good companies invest on that. So it's going to be good for you, good for us. sometimes, of course, I have to negotiate. I cannot be like, oh, all of the time is users. Like, no, sometimes I need to listen, and I try to put myself in the shoes of the person, because it's not, sometimes it's not about users. The technical side sometimes has this like high risk threshold of, if we don't introduce this right now, the whole thing is going to be unstable because this. And I understand, because I am an engineer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I know what you are saying. Like, if we don't introduce the refactor, performance is going to go bad. And maybe for some users, like big ones, that's important. So yeah, I understand. And maybe it's not going to happen in 1 month, but maybe it's going to happen in 2 or 3. And they have good reasons. So I have to say, okay, let's see how we can negotiate as well. And
somewhere in the middle.
How can we mitigate user experience, but also bring this? And it's just always negotiating. Like, it's never a truth from each side. I always think, like, if you said something to me, feedback or whatever, the truth is always in the middle. Like, it's not me, it's not you, it's like here. And whatever is there, I can work with that.
That's a very healthy perspective.
Yeah, it's like, if you think you are always right, you are not.
You're so not. And I have a really hard time working with people that are that way. I like when people are flexible, that can put themselves in the other shoes, like literally empathy, see it from their perspective. And then indeed, we come somewhere in the middle. And then we test. And as long as we're flexible, I think it should be all right.
Yeah. Sometimes I think, like, because people who work in this industry are very passionate, the conversation can be really heated.
Oh, so much.
Because of the passion.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing, because it's worse if you have people who don't care at all. That's dangerous, because it's like, oh, whatever, and you really are impacting people, and they don't care. So
no, they're gone.
I'd rather have the opinionated, the strong opinionated is like, depends of how strong, right?
Of course.
And depends of the power. If the strong opinionated is the CTO of the company, I'm sorry, but I don't think I will work with you. I will just go move away. Like, that's an option. Like, if you're in a company that you don't fit, because the company is just, I don't know, profit, and we don't care about anything. Is this kind of like companies who says, oh, we should create these like microtransactions for kids. That kind of thing. That's a company that I will be,
no, I'm out.
No, I'm sorry. We can choose. So, and in this industry, we can choose.
Absolutely.
Like, which is to work with and not to work like under, because that's at least in this stage. At the beginning, it's different. When you are starting, you are like, oh, please give me a job, and then at least in my case, it was like that. Like, they just pay you really little, and then you get 1 year of experience, and then you move. But in the Netherlands, I think it's different. I think
it's not that bad, to be honest. I mean, I started out in operations, and then I moved internally to more of the development side. But even at this company, like, I've worked on projects that, from a world perspective and doing good, are not doing that great. And I'm like, man, this is probably, looking back, not the project that I want to work on in the future. But at the time, with that team, new technology, it was really exciting. And I didn't look at it from I have to give good to the world perspective. So it wasn't the best project, but it was a really good project at the time. So I also, that comes with experience.
Yeah, I think also with age as well. Like, the whole, you start to think a little bit more about that. At the beginning, everything is too exciting. Like, I don't know how it was for you, but for me, my career in terms of confidence was like, I started like the whole programming world, and I'm like, oh my God, I know so much. And it was 12 years ago, so basic, like HTML. And then Angular was out, and I was like, oh my God, I am leading projects in Angular. So it's that chart, and you start like, oh, I know so much. And then you go into a pond, and it's like down
to the floor.
Because you know nothing. And then you look up all of the knowledge, is like, oh my God, I have no idea. And then you start to say, no worries, I can learn more. So you start again, and it's always like these dips. And I remember I was tired, because it's like you feel very incompetent all the time with all of the new things. Every single day was something new that I didn't know. And every single day I was trying to keep myself updated with Hacker News or Reddit, all of these things. And I'm like reading them. I don't get, what is this? And now with the whole AI, it's like even more. And I remember I asked like a colleague. He's in the industry 20 something years.
Okay.
Someone very
That's
smart.
long. Yeah.
Yeah. So he has seen a lot and he's very smart, curious. And so I asked, like, how did you keep in this industry? Like,
yeah.
Like
27.
20 something. And then what do you think is the best tip that you can give me for keeping here? Because sometimes I really want to quit. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
It's too much.
It's too much. It's like very overwhelming. And then he said that in every, like, of course, you can see his career is 20 something, but he has stages, like what we are talking, like the beginning, like you don't see maybe the projects too much, but you see the tech, and you're still growing and growing and growing. And it's like always in these stages, he found something that was interesting, and tech is always interesting.
Yeah.
Because these new things, you could see it as, oh, I have no idea what is this. Oh my God, poor me, I really want to know everything. Or you could see like, oh, this is very interesting. What can I learn from this?
Yeah.
So he has this mentality of always like being curious. And that was the tip that he gave me, like just cultivate curiosity. Curiosity is not something that you are not born with. So if you think that, you are done. Like, no, you have to cultivate that. And in tech, you have to, like, if you see something that is interesting, instead of like running away, just go deeper and see, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
And then you never know where that path is going to take you. And that was very like disappointing.
You didn't like that?
No, I like it.
Yeah.
But I was expecting more like,
like
I have
silver
done,
bullet.
yes, I did this,
and
this.
That's it.
But no, he was like very wise.
That's reality, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so it's hard work.
Yeah,
what you
continuously.
are saying, continuously.
Yeah.
But then make it enjoyable with the whole curiosity.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
I mean, I've always been innately curious. And I don't know, it doesn't cost me anything, right? To understand why is for me really important, because otherwise I'm just executing. I cannot just execute without understanding. And sometimes it takes time, and sometimes it takes patience, and not everyone has that. It can be very frustrating if a person without patience listens to me while I say, why? And if I don't understand it, I cannot build it. Like, that's just, it might be who I am, but it's very important for me. It's like one of my, I don't know if it's a value or like something intrinsic. It's something I need, which is also why I wanted to do this product role. Because from a developer sense, I always expected this from my product person, right? Product owner, product manager, whatever, product lead. And now I'm in that seat. So I get to ask everything. And I should have all or most of the questions. In my head, it was all before I stepped in this role. Now I understand I cannot have all the answers. So that's also how I communicate it, because I don't think I've had this communicated to me like this. Like, with what we know now, these are our assumptions and we're acting based upon this. So this is what we're building. And that's how I get people to work with me. That's how I get people to understand. If I don't understand, I'm not going to say I understand. I'm going to say I also don't understand. That's why we're doing this and this, to figure it out. And that's the part of the job that I really like. From the flip side, I really miss executing, because now that I'm, let's say, orchestrating, I'm not really hands-on executing. And sometimes it feels like I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
And then the people in my team say, yeah, but that's really good, because we know exactly what to do and you facilitate that. It's like, yeah, but I don't have the same feeling of fulfillment. So that's, I kind of torn what I want to do next.
How do you measure success in your like personal, like in personal career? Like, because what you are mentioning is something similar what I am experiencing in the new role. Like 1.5 years ago, I became the tech lead in my team. So my team is very high, like in terms of seniority. Like, I have principals and I have, people above me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and you think I'm the tech lead.
Yeah.
So of course, for me, it's kind of like a role of facilitating, yes, but also I am expected to code, because you really need to get in depth in some specific projects, especially the high risk, high impact.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes I feel like I have to, this glue work is called, like when you have this enablement, when the team is just like, it's kind of like putting oil in different places. If the team is blocked, you have to like unblock. Yeah. Or if the team needs help and they don't have the patience or the skills, whatever. So sometimes I do that facilitation. And that requires time. But then before, I used to measure myself in code. how many impactful projects I am creating, implementing coding.
Yeah.
Maybe if I work with someone else, that's okay. But it's just like, at least there was a line of code of me there, right? Now it's harder because sometimes I collaborate with projects, but I don't add a single line of code, especially the smaller ones that they don't need two people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, but yeah, this is all you, the person, of course, who is doing the code. But it's hard for me to say, oh, you influence that project. Oof, for me, like, oh, maybe I'm taking, the whole credit. And I don't want to do that.
I also don't want that.
But when you talk to people who has more experience in this role, and especially managers or they're like, yeah, this is a thing that you need to learn, because you need to think that if you were not there, or either this person will be slower, or the project will be not the shape as is today. Like, you need to acknowledge the influence that you have there.
Yeah. And
then I can accept that, but how can I measure that? What is my level of influence? Am I doing a good job or not?
Yeah.
Like, is this really realistic? Is it really I am bringing value or not?
Yeah.
Like, that's very hard.
I agree. Like, I don't think I have a finite answer for that. I recently sent out feedback forms, right? And people are like, oh yeah, we do that for performance reviews. For me, we don't have that for performance reviews. So I also said, it's not going to impact my salary. It's not going to impact any bonuses. It's honestly just for me, and I'm curious, right?
Yeah.
I sent it to the whole team. I sent it to a lot of the stakeholders that I interact with. And it was a few of the standard, more feedback questions, right? What is going well? What is not going well? I'd like to add something personal. So I said, what do you remember about our collaboration specifically? And some people said, you laugh a lot, which is good for the vibe. Like, stuff like that then came out. And I also got feedback from stakeholders that said, you made some decisions, and I felt like my opinion was not taken into account. And I'm like, I know exactly what happened. And indeed, I chose otherwise, but maybe I should have communicated better, or maybe I could have done X, Y, and Z. I'm happy that they gave that feedback, and I didn't lose this person, right? I didn't break this relationship. So they still felt safe to give that feedback. Based on that, I think it's still a personal feeling. But based on that, I can say, I think I'm doing a good job. Next to that, I have some conversations where, exactly because I want to understand why, I ask some questions. And throughout that, either we reach a different decision or things get steered in a different way because of those questions. I do like to do those thought exercises. If I were there, or if I wouldn't have asked that, would it still come to this conclusion? Are we doing something different because of that influence? And is that a good thing or bad thing? I don't know at the end of the day. I feel like from a tech lead side and also from product side, you're more responsible for outcomes rather than output, right? Output is more measurable.
Yeah.
Features, functionality, that's the stuff that I miss, honestly. And that's also that fulfillment that I miss. But the outcomes take longer, and those are then harder measurable.
Yeah. It's like years, right?
It can be years. Yeah. As long as I feel like I want to do this, I have that curiosity, I'm passionate about this, I feel like I'm in a good place. So I will do what I think is best for the organization. And I will be flexible in my approach. I will listen to people and not just push. That's the best I can do. I think if people have that mindset, then in the end, we'll make some decisions, we'll test our assumptions, and we'll steer accordingly. What I don't like is the people that don't have that flexibility, right? That push, and then that don't want to explain why, that don't have patience. I don't really have patience for people that don't have patience.
It's like a cycle.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it's definitely hard to measure.
It is. And I wonder, for instance, one thing that I noticed, we are having this conversation lately with one of my friends about in my case, I care. And the perception is that you care too much.
Okay.
So you care too much.
From the team?
From the job.
Okay.
So we are humans, so we have our job. And as I said, people who are in tech frequently are very passionate, and they invest a lot of time.
Yeah.
And sometimes they invest not only work time, but they invest extra time.
Oh, yeah.
And if you work with cultures like the US, they are really about investing time and very serious. And in my case, when I am originally from Colombia, so I used to work for American companies, and I got that hustle. You have to care, and 3 a.m. working. Of course, that's
Normal.
that does make you a good employee, a good developer. And they will make sure that you know that. So, of course, I was coming from that background, and it was always, I was younger, of course. So hustling. And then I came to the Netherlands. And in the Netherlands, the first like cultural shock was I was sick and I went to work sick.
Yeah.
And my lead said like, why you are here?
Yeah, exactly. Go home.
Yes. And I'm like, well, I can still work. And it's like, but you are sick. You are first making everyone sick.
Yeah.
And the second is like, no, you don't look like you can work. I'm like, oh, but I will just excuses. And this person was like, don't be the hero. This was his words. Don't be the hero. We need you in 100% conditions. Just go, rest today. And if tomorrow feel good, come. If not, then stay home. That for me was like, oh my God, these people are like so weird.
It's different.
It's just totally different, because in Colombia, what I will do is like, if I feel sick, I will go to the pharmacy, they will put an injection, and I am going to be okay.
Oh, wow.
For a while.
Okay.
And probably after many injections, I might have some resilience.
After many?
Well, you know, like, it's like, you are never recover.
Okay.
So, of course, I was coming from that background of always working extra. And because I care, it was worse. So I care about users. I care about what I do. My sense of responsibility is high. And then you combine with this with a very culture of workaholic US company. So when I came here, it was quite like hard to let go. And in my case, the thing that made me stop and maybe consider an alternative of working was like I got sick.
Yeah.
So I got into like burnout experience really bad in like 4 or 5 years ago or something like that. And I remember that in that point I was like, maybe these people here know something like the Netherlands, because they have more this life and work, not life balance, life and work. Like I have my kids and 5 p.m. bye-bye.
Done.
Like I will not care about your bugs or whatever. Like no, like of course in some scenarios if you're on call, but it's not saying that they don't care. They care, but they are very strict with their life. And at the beginning I was like, that's so like inefficient. We can do everything. We cannot. So I remember that after that experience, I started to look into ways of being like someone who, of course, focus on learning and then is passionate and then cares. But I still have trouble, because now it's better, it's more balanced. I still have trouble in caring too much. Like if you care too much, there is a point that you are going to face with these inflexible people, and they will say, we don't care about this. We are going out with this specific feature, even though we know it's going to harm users in the meantime, but money.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. And like we are not like here to be like charity or whatever. Like, we are paying you to do this.
It's a business.
It's a business, and you have to be aware of that. And of course, you accept it, but really in a not good way. It's like it's stress. It's like, oh my God, these people, why they don't care, why, whatever. And I started to complain with this friend, like, oh, but I don't know why other people don't care.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, the answer is like, it's because you care too much.
That way.
So it's not like they don't care, they do, but it's like they also are realistic. You care too much. You think that there is this level of success or this level of perfection. That's not realistic. You have to be more down to earth. It's good that you care, but you cannot be like
not an extremist.
Not an extremist, because then it will not happen. That life is not like that. I'm like, I know.
It's a healthy perspective.
And this is, I know, like rationally, I know, but this is a pattern from my old self that I is still working towards.
Yeah.
And it's taking time, but like it took me like 20-something years in the past just to be there. So I think I need another 10 or something to just go into.
Like reprogram.
Like which level I care. And life is outside and work is outside. There is no this like balance. Which balance? Like no. So
yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because the qualities that you describe, right? Caring about your end user, making sure they're taken care of, making decisions with their best interest at heart. In an interview process, from a company standpoint, I would love that. I want people to have that. And it's the same with responsibility. It's the same with accountability. If a person has too many or too high sense of responsibility, they might take in every ask for help, right? They might say, I'm going to help there, I'm going to help there. They might have a million things then running in parallel, and no one actually feels they're being helped, or they're going to crunch themselves to make sure everyone feels helped. And then the time they spent is just a ridiculous amount, and they might actually burn themselves out because of that.
Yeah.
It's like those core qualities. Yes, a person needs to have them, but indeed also with a healthy perspective. If it's too extreme, then it might be self-harming. And that's hard, especially if that's how you've been programmed or that's how the upbringing is from a career perspective. Then you need to reprogram, and that takes time.
Yeah. And it's not even sometimes like the career, it's also culture.
Oh, yeah.
Like it depends on the culture that you were raised. Like sometimes the responsibility sense is super high. And it's like in Colombia, we have this like, you don't quit. That was in my house. Like, we don't quit.
Yeah.
We do things, like if you put me into a job, I will do my best. And this was like my mom's standard. Like, you should do your best. You should be grateful. You should like, you should. And of course, like put that into a work environment that is very high demanding, that is complex. So actually you get tired just of thinking of making decisions.
Yeah.
And you put that culture there is like a nice bump. In one point you are like, I cannot do all of these things.
And you want to.
And you want to, but this is also like, it's hard. Like I remember the first stage of my burnout, I was like, I am not in burnout.
No, denial. Full on.
I am not. You are wrong.
Yeah.
The reason that I'm feeling so freaking tired is because I need to rest. So I will just go and rest. But now when you stop, like your body just throws you all of these things. And yeah, it's like everything that you are ignoring because you think that you are a superhero. Like it's not. Like you really need to like stop.
How long did it take you to accept that?
I think it was like probably because I had a conversation with my manager, like, hey, something is weird. And then he's like, oh, okay, I think I understand. No worries, just go into sick leave. Immediately, I'm like, there is no like...
Yeah, I'm not sick.
Monday I can go. It's like a Thursday or something like that. Yeah. And he's like, no. He has experience with someone like with burnouts in the past. So
that's
of course
good.
He knew.
Yeah.
And I remember that from that point until I went to the GP, like 3 weeks later, because I was like, I don't want to accept. Yeah. And when I went to the GP, she was, you are the third person today who is coming with this kind of problem. So it's very normal. And I'm like, no.
It's not normal.
It's not.
Yeah.
And in my case, my identity from a Latin American country, like if I broke my leg, I will be like, of course, I cannot work.
Clearly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if it was something mental, like in my mind, it's like, no, you are not weak. And I saw that as a weakness. And it was like really taking so long. So the GP reassuring that it's normal, you need to take care. And then, of course, the company sends you to like different processes. And then I started to go to a therapist in Colombia, and I thought she will support me. She will not.
I love that.
I really choose her because I thought like she will get me. Yeah. She will think.
She knows.
Of course, this girl is like, she is doing well. Look, she's successful. Yeah. Come on, she should not be doing this. And she, when we had that session, it was like, oh yeah, like so tell me more. And then she was explaining all of this, and I'm like, so you are not denying this?
Yeah,
that's
it's
weird. Yeah, but for me it was like, oh no. It took me, when I had that session with her, I was like, okay, if a professional from my own country is saying this, okay, I need to listen. And that was the point that you acknowledge that. And it's freaking hard to acknowledge that you are sick in that way. And it's freaking hard because your body starts to recover, but what gets you into being sick is not like the last months, it's always patterns of work. And I remember that the first 3-4 months, I could see like the patterns that got me into the place that I was.
Yeah.
And it was, I discovered that, this is a very interesting story. I went to Portugal for, I always wanted to do this work away.
Oh, yeah?
So it's like you go work 4 hours and then you just stay in the place. So I went into this like town near Porto. And it was a family that they live off-grid. So no electricity, like with solar panels. And the idea was like, I will go there and help them 4 hours a day. And then I will just enjoy myself. And because I was recovering, I thought, yeah, I can do 1 week there. I will just go and do that. And I was feeling better. Like I was like, I come back and I will just go back to work as nothing.
Gonna crush it.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So I went there, and the first day that I arrived, the family, they have kids. You know, kids are messy. And I am an engineer, so it's like very
specific.
Square.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I can help you. So I organized all of the things. I spent like 5 or 6 hours just doing that organization because the kids were with the father somewhere. The next day, they put me into having onions and put it in the ground, something like that. Like it's a farming.
Yeah.
And it started to rain, and I thought, it's not going to be a problem. I need to finish my task because I need to be responsible. These people are feeding me. So, of course, I cannot let them down. I have to. And next day I was sick.
Oh, yeah, in the rain.
Of course, because I didn't, and expertise putting onions, like,
You're not an expert.
No, I'm not an expert on that. Like, it was really hard work, to be honest. And the next day, the family was like, okay, well, so you cannot work anymore, rest. And I'm like, no, but our agreement was, I will come here for 1 week, and you are going to feed me, and I will work 4 hours a day. So tell me what else I can do. Yeah. And they're like, but you are sick. I'm like, I will take a pill. And they're like, we don't believe in pills. Like, you should like be resting. I'm like, I have my pills. I don't know your pills. Just let me know. And they put me into a job. Okay. And the job was, there was this tool house. Such a messy house. Like, you know, when they have like all of these like small screws and everything. Yeah. It was a house. Okay. And my goal was to fix it. So just to organize it. So what ended up happening was like in the next 3 or 4 days, I was just collecting all of the screws, organizing, cleaning, like literally working 8 or 9 hours a day.
Damn.
And they didn't notice until the last day that, well, is the girl, because I always go into dinner, but they thought I will work 4 hours, will go to my camper and rest, and then like enjoy it myself.
As you should. That was the arrangement.
That was the arrangement. But I was like, I cannot let this house down. I need to finish this as a project because what they will think, like, no. So in one point, there was one of the kids coming like, what you are doing here? I'm like, I'm just fixing this. And then they brought the mom, and then was like, why you are like here? And at the end of that like experience, the tool house was fixed.
Of course.
And I felt proud, of course, like, oh my God, look at this, beautiful. I did this. And then I was talking to my therapist, and then she said, there was the worst question that someone asked me. How long do you think is that tool house going to be organized like that? Do you think they got into that like situation because like they just needed someone like you to fix it? And other thing was, do you think someone else could do this after you? Because they have this volunteering program. So after you, there was someone else coming. And the father told me that, like, I think you exceeded here. Like, you shouldn't. Someone else will finish that work. You should not have done that. Yeah. At that point, I noticed, like, my burnout was not because technology. It was because me. Like, my own patterns of work, even in a farm. Like, I put tech patterns into farm and the same result, like overworking, not being like honest or not saying no, or like just literally just letting go and not having that control of like, I need to finish. It was so freaking like eye-opening and hard because like, oh, okay, I think I need more work and more like, I need to recover properly.
It's such a beautiful experience though, because honestly, like I grew up in the Netherlands. My parents are Turkish. I've heard my parents say, Turkish people don't get burnouts. I have colleagues from Brazil. They also say, Brazilian people work hard. We don't get burnouts. Like, it's a cultural thing. And I have never experienced burnout, right? I hear stories, I hear perspectives. I'm trying to be more careful with regards to the time I spent. There was a time where I had a YouTube channel. I was doing editing for that. I was editing this podcast. I was finding people. I was working, recording, all of that. And my partner said, you don't have weekends. Like, we don't have free time together. I don't see you. You only work. Yeah. And I was like, this is a problem, right? And I wanted to do that. I was doing the things because I love doing the things. I didn't want to let go because I hate choosing. Things that you like, you should be able to do. But I didn't have enough time to do all of that. So I had to let go stuff. very painfully, I was like, okay, I need to ask for help. I can't do this anymore. I have to give this away. I have to say no to new things because nothing fits. Right now, I'm full. I'm full to a point where the weekend is over and I don't feel rested. And that's not good. So I did that. But it's because someone that I care for, that I hold in my heart, said, I don't see you, right? It's a problem, basically. That was the eye-opener that I needed to change whatever I was doing. If I didn't have that, I don't know where I would have ended. Like, that's the hard part. I've always been brought up with hard work. Like, I look up to my mom. She's the hardest working person that I've ever seen in my life. She beat cancer twice and she's still working and has 4 kids. Like, it's insane. I can never compete.
Yeah.
And then I'm still very careful for her because I'm saying, please don't burn out. Please, like, don't get yourself to a point where you can't do any of the things that you want anymore. And from her perspective, she's like, I don't think I'll ever get a burnout. I'm like, damn, that's a sign. That's a signal. It's like, yeah.
You're already saying this.
Yeah,
Putting you in the high
exactly.
risk, like.
Yeah. So it's sometimes things have to happen and escalate, but I really don't want them to. But it's a very, I can see the cultural thing there. Yeah, it's hard.
It is really hard. And you know what is interesting? Like, my mom is always the same as me, the same, like, oh, she's just moving all the time. Like your mom, like that kind of cultural thing.
Yeah.
You should move. And like, if you stay, you die.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Kind of thing. But in her case, she suffers from like migraines. And migraines are like freaking hard.
Blocking.
So you have to rest. There is no other option. So in her case, resting is painful, not because of the migraine, like the migraine is of course painful, but because she has to be like staying. Like, and I always like giving these like advices, right? Like you should be just like do nothing if you are experimenting this episode. But then I get sick.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, recommendation, you should do nothing. I'm like, well, technically, nothing about work, but what about learning? Like my brain just started to, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like my mom. Like literally, it's just like, I cannot, like I really need to make sure that I am putting the effort to stop. And sometimes I succeed. Literally, I'm like, okay, I will just do nothing today and it's allow it. And one of my coaches said, like, you have to have a nope day. And that's the day that you say nope to everything. Like, are you going to do the laundry? Nope. Are you going to whatever? Nope. Are you going to? Nope. And that day you just do nothing. And that's a healthy, good day. This is what this person said. And because of that concept, I'm like, okay, sometimes I can try to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I fail. I'm like, I will do nothing. And then, oh, but you know, like there is this podcast. Or there is this thing. I am just here. Like literally I'm not moving, but it's the brain that is always like rushing. And it's hard.
Absolutely.
It's a really hard thing. And for me, the scary part is like, if you don't have a group around you that is not telling you, hey, I think you are going sideways, your brain just tricks you and you're still just doing this. And that's the sad part. I think like sometimes we just get into these stages, like burnouts or like depression or something, because or either we don't listen to the people around us, because I am sure people tell you, or we don't have that like straight point of someone saying to you like, this that you are doing is not good. Like,
it's not healthy.
Yeah, it's not healthy. Sometimes people do rounds and we just see the nice
like,
thing.
should you do that?
Like, maybe you should delegate.
Dutch culture is good at that though.
But instead of like, you are just working too much. And that's like in your face. There is no other thing. And you could argue, but reality is going to tell you otherwise. And so I think like a support group in general for tech and for whatever, especially when you are like they call it like high achievers, like people who always want to learn, people who
overachievers.
The overachievers. I think like you need someone who just slows you down, because it's not possible.
It's
like,
not sustainable.
No, not for the long run. You will not last 20-something years like my colleague. Like, no, exactly. You might end up in a farm. Like, and it's not bad. Actually, if you ended up in a farm, probably you are slowing down. But that's the best case scenario. The other worst is sick.
It's quite bad.
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
Not good,
yeah, I think the more people are opening up about it, more sharing, and even conversations like these, the better it gives perspective to people that might be in a similar position or might be close to actually burning out, which I'm really thankful for, because this 20 years ago was not a thing. I don't think people talked about burnouts. You just got sick and it's like, it's a weakling. And now we know it's actually not healthy sometimes the way we do things. And it's because of good things, but good things in excess are still bad in the end.
When they start to harm you, your family, or like around this, you know that you should not be like pushing too much. Like if you push too much, your body is going to break.
Yeah,
like
it's going to catch up.
Yeah, it's going to. There is this book, The Body Keeps the Score.
Okay.
And it's about that. Like it's like you can't try to trick your body. Like, oh, you know, I'm just training like 4 or 5 hours a day. That's not going to, like, of course, at one point when you stop, everything is coming.
That's a great title.
Yeah, but the book is more about the emotional state. You just like, oh, I'm feeling sad. I'm not feeling sad. And you reject the emotions as well. So I think like this is something also that in this industry I have seen, like people in general, like the whole emotional side is like, let's just don't talk about emotions. Yeah, like no, you are asking me how I'm doing, and you should expect from me like good, thank you. Like
that's it.
Yeah, that's it. You should not do that other thing, because if you really answer, is like maybe it's not.
You're gonna open up something someone doesn't want to hear.
Exactly,
or like,
and it's like it was only a polite way to say good morning.
Yeah.
And so I think like in this industry is better now, because when I started it was worse. But now it's better because you have more conversations, especially like if you open up first. This is my experience. If I open up about my experience with burnout, it's easy to have conversations with people who already experience that or who are towards that, and then they trust you because they feel like you will not judge. You already are, like you passed that, or you are like experiencing that. But if you don't, and if you put that like, you know, I know everything, I am an expert, I am the tech lead of whatever, I'm and all of these like titles and layers and directors and whatever, people are like, wow, you are amazing, I am the problem. And when it's me. And when you believe that, it's done. Like there is
not a good thing.
There is no conversation, there is no honesty between people. It's like, well, in meetings I can see it.
Yeah.
So it's like you see a meeting, and then you see all of these points and these images. I'm like, all of you are broken. And I know.
And I know.
So I will treat you as a person first. But yeah, we all here are broken. So let's just not do this. And even if you don't want to accept it, we all are. Like we still share this world. So we put into philosophy things like, yeah, we have hard questions and we are afraid of dying. So yeah, no, like
it's all the same.
It's like we are the same. And,
for sure.
But yeah.
I have really enjoyed this conversation, I must say. I didn't expect it to go this direction, but I'm really happy it did. I want to thank you for your openness. You also asked, I think, very interesting questions, and I really like the discussions that happen here. Before we round off, is there still anything you want to share?
I think like, first, thank you so much for the invitation. I also enjoyed the conversation. But I think like if you are starting this career, and I will agree with you, understanding the why, like if you imagine that if you are building something really dangerous that you don't know, it's better that you are okay with what you are building. Like if I am building the atomic bomb, it's better that I know and I am okay with that. So always ask why you are doing things as a developer, as engineer manager, because if you don't do that, you might end up maybe doing something or impacting people's life without even realizing it. So it's better to just be more curious about why you are doing things. Keep your, of course, if you like tech, keep that. Just add an extra thing. It's not remove, it's just add an extra layer of why we are doing things.
Yeah.
So
I think it comes with the job nowadays. It's your responsibility.
It comes. But however,
not everyone does it.
Because it's cultural, like software culture is evolving. And I think like it's going to that direction. But I think if you are already in the job for many years, if you start to do that, or if you are starting and if you start to do that, it will make easier your life. And also it will put you into the bucket of people who can bring more value, in my opinion. Like if I have someone like that in my team, I'm like, you are the person that I will put you in a lot of projects that are very high impact. Why? Because you care. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's one thing. And the next probably is about the last point, and is we have a limited amount of time at work, but also in life. And in my opinion, there is more than work in life. Like you should have, like the Dutch, life and then work separate. There is no like working 11 hours in a farm or something like that. That's like, don't do that.
Not anymore.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
If you can, just don't do that. If you don't have option, okay, that's a different situation. So
yeah, that's fair. I love that. Thank you so much for offering that perspective as well. And thank you for listening. Let us know in the comment section what you thought. I'm going to put all Alexandra's socials in the description below. Reach out to her, let her know what you thought of this episode as well. And we'll see you on the next one.